pause.
I was going to say.
And continue for the
All
next
right,
one.
now we're doing the movies.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone.
Now we're doing movies.
Welcome back. in case you,
Okay,
in case
so
you
the
went away for
movies. What are the
bathroom
movies we're doing?
What movies do we have?
break. So the movies tonight are going to be Twilight Zone,
Yes.
The Movie,
Yep.
and The Shining.
I'm going to start only because I know you two are not going to say this, so I'm going to say it.
Oh.
He might say it.
Do you think so?
Yeah, because you two are the ones who wanted Twilight Zone in the
All right.
No,
round.
go for it. You go
So Twilight Zone was being an anthology,
Not a horror movie.
being several stories. Not all of them are horror movies or horror stories, but the ones that are horror stories are really fucking good. The best being The Airplane, originally done on the TV show with
Shatner?
the classic Shatner.
Funny story about that.
Let's hear it.
My kids, I said William Shatner. I didn't think much of it. The first thing they said was, Shatner. I go, fuck, I never really thought about that.
That's because your kids are cooler than all of
I was
us.
going to say that. Funny story. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
But the whole point is there were a few in there that were scary. The cartoon,
There was only 4.
Full, not 4.
and some of them were scary. The kid with the cartoon
Yep.
had the power to
Had
change things.
one scene that was scary.
It's
With the rabbit coming out.
You weren't creeped out.
And
No.
the mouth missing from the girl, the whole missing mouth was a surprise reveal. And the airplane, of course.
You just said the airplane.
No, I didn't mention that. I did mention it, but I didn't say that those are the 2 episodes that were the best episodes.
Because
Shows,
the whole
segments.
the whole
So,
racist guy was not scary.
But
No.
that was...
It was a little
It was eerie
interesting,
to me
and yeah,
in the sense that you
and the whole traveling
'cause think about
time.
it, like, how would you feel if all of a sudden you got thrown into fucking, Germany?
I wouldn't go, oh my god, this is horrible.
You wouldn't go, I'm in a horror movie, right? What did you say?
He would say it'd be a
horror
horror movie.
Horror movie.
Horror movie.
Horror. No, I think they were all terrifying in their own way. Some people feel like the old one wasn't as terrifying, but think about that. Being stuck as a child when you've got the knowledge, it's almost...
A different kind of terrifying
Yeah,
is
it's
what it
kind
was.
of vampire in that sense, right? Vampirical? I was kind of going for it.
Oh, vampire.
Right? Like, so, in Interview with the Vampire, Kirsten Dunst gets stuck at that age, and she's just later on, she's like, I want this, like she's...
I think if
matured beyond
you
that.
look at it when this movie came out and the racism that was sort of accepted back then, I think it's simple to say that one guy who was like against, okay, he was over exaggerated because he was against everything. Of when the
Twilight
movie
Zone is
was?
87? 86?
Twilight Zone was
83.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, 83. Yeah, that's what I said.
But the simple fact that you believe you're against one race and you're put in the position of that race and the prosecution that race encountered is a little scary in that respect that now you're being hunted for your beliefs even though you don't believe them. Like
That's
I
scary to me.
don't like Jews and I'm
Oh,
being
very
hunted
convenient.
because I'm Jew.
No, but think about that. Like, you'd be like, oh my gosh, like somebody thinks you're,
Less than.
Yeah, they're coming after you for no reason. You're like, what? I didn't do anything. Like, do you
Right.
believe this? And you say no, and they're like, we don't believe you. And you're like,
But even beyond that, he was more like, oh, thank God, it's my people. There's more rednecks. Hey, I'm not really a black guy. Oh, wait, they're shooting at me. I guess I'm a black guy. It's a lesson, but it was also kind of scary. It was like, what would you do in that situation?
So I'm conflicted for the fact that obviously that was John Landis.
Isn't that your favorite?
Yeah.
It is one of my favorites.
Be masturbating under the table?
That's
Wow.
why. That's why I said
Warwick, calm down.
I'm conflicted.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
to me, like the worst segment in that was in fact the John Landis segment. I thought that I 100% agree. Like John Lithgow on the plane,
Great performance.
fucking phenomenal.
If they would have made a movie of just that,
It was so good.
You didn't need to.
I agree.
His,
Agreed.
Like
Agreed.
we talked about Shatner. Like Shatner has literally nothing on the facial expressions that John Lithgow put.
I agree.
On that.
Yeah. I agree.
It's
I
like,
like Shatner's version, but I love Lithgow's
oh my god!
version.
It just like that is truly the difference of acting and acting.
Agree.
You know, it's
Agreed.
like phenomenal.
Agreed. Don't tell Shatner that.
I thought the kid one was okay. You know, it's like it was a
kid one.
Yeah, the one
with the cartoon.
Yeah.
You thought it was okay. The kid had a cartoon.
With the rabbit. Yeah. It's I thought it was okay. Like to me, the only good one was the plane. And the Dan Aykroyd part. Like,
all right, let's talk about that real quick, because that was the whole thing. The opening, closing, the whole connection between the two.
I thought that was great.
Simple fact, where Lithgow's in the ambulance and you turn around and it's all of a sudden you're like,
up the plane.
wait a minute. You're like, hold on, he was in the beginning. And then he says, want to see something real scary?
Right.
I'm like, oh!
Yes. It was
That
good.
was awesome. That was awesome.
Okay.
Now, moving on to the other movie.
So what
The
was that other
shinning.
movie? Oh, the shinning.
Yeah.
So they were constantly hitting his shins with bats. It was the
Correct.
weirdest thing.
Correct.
No.
Like bats, and they were squashing because they're like living bats.
I mean, literally, The Shining is a masterpiece. It is an absolute masterpiece. It's like it is. It's funny that we talked in the last episode about, you know, we were somewhat complaining about the pacing of the fog and the slow build. Like in reality, The Shining is the epitome.
Epitome
There you go.
of that pacing, of that kind of
While
pacing.
watching the epitome
of a slow build. Sure. But somehow in The Shining, all of that build up leads to just this amazing like sight for your eyes.
Yep.
It is so visually like amazing. Yep. And again, the soundtrack was just like stunning. Yep. And you know, as much as I think Shelley Duvall is probably is the ugliest woman in the entire world.
Yeah, don't say that on camera.
It's hopefully I'm sure she's not watching. It's like
one of our subscribers.
I still can't take away from
our one is good.
Like the acting was just like amazing. Like her acting was just
but you know
so
why that
on
is
point.
Oh.
Because Kubrick didn't let her know that some of the stuff was happening.
Dick.
Yes.
But he needed to pull that out of her, and he did it because he wasn't getting the right performances out of her. But he did put her through literal hell, to get those performances.
And you know,
separate issue altogether.
You know, there's been tough decisions between two bourbons and two films.
Sure.
As far as these two films, I'm not going to say it's a total tough decision, but it's one of those where you've got multiple stories against a single story that was done masterfully, right? And it's hard to be able. And granted, they took the Twilight Zone, tried to tie everything together. The Dan Aykroyd stuff, phenomenal. Like the way they did all of that, the whole car and everything. But you've got a great story by Stephen King that was turned into a masterful piece of just filmography that you can't go beyond perfection with this movie. And it's hard. You know, I get it. There's little pieces of it that have imperfections, but you can't.
Are you talking Shining? Because Kubrick made sure every fucking scene was exactly the way he wanted.
But that you can tell the difference.
Painstakingly.
And it's hard because, granted, I mean, God, if somebody asked me Twilight Zone movie, the first thing you think of is Lithgow, right? Like you can't get past how he acted. The thing scared the shit out of you. But
the monster was way better. The monster was way better in the movie than it was on the TV show.
Oh, of course.
God, yeah, I saw that.
It's called budget.
Better.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's one of those things where, like, you know, I don't know if it's more of you saw what scared you in Twilight Zone, you weren't sure what scared you in The Shining.
Well, even to the very end. I mean,
you weren't sure what it was.
Absolutely.
Was it ghosts? Was it Native American?
And arguably, it's not really until Dr. Sleep came along that you actually understood a little bit more of what.
Oh, he didn't like Dr. Sleep. You don't like Dr. Sleep?
Really?
Dr. Sleep was fucking phenomenal.
Oh, okay, good.
okay,
All
good,
right,
good.
all right,
No,
all
no.
right,
The book
all right.
was
We're all
phenomenal movie. They
we're all
did it
good.
justice.
We're all good.
Like
then. We're all good.
to me, it's like those
Thought
two.
you were like
Sorry, I
against
keep
it for a
saying
second
it.
there.
You gotta yell at me.
Those two movies.
Sorry.
Those two movies are movies that, in reality, I think, The Shining, as phenomenal as that movie is, becomes even better when you watch Doctor Sleep afterwards, because all of the questions that you had as to what exactly is it, even though I can't remember what the guy's name is. I'll horribly say the black guy.
In which one?
In The Shining. Well, he's in Doctor Sleep as well.
Yeah,
but like
that's
in
a
the
different character.
but that was like he implies at the beginning when he's talking to Danny of the whole fact,
Dick Halloran is in the movie.
Dick Halloran.
yes, where it's like he starts
can't I
talking
think-
about the idea of like The Shining.
Yes. Right. What it is.
But you don't really. It's not really explained. It's not really, other than that first conversation. There's not really much that happens about it. Obviously, it's fully explained in Doctor Sleep. But just it's everything about The Shining is just it's phenomenal, and it's like I think it's.
Scatman Carruthers.
Yes, of
How do
course.
we not remember
Of course.
Scatman
And
Carruthers?
if I remember correctly, he's
Scatman.
also in the Twilight Zone.
He is. Holy shit! He is in the Twilight Zone. The old guy.
He's
Yes.
the
That
old
goes
man
from.
that's in-
You're not fascinated by that?
No.
He's
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But see,
Fucko.
yeah. No. It's,
Okay, this is gonna be almost like a. Oh my God, I've drank too much.
And we have more to do.
Yeah, we do.
By the way.
A debate team where it's like, to me, you guys have to tell me how you vaguely think that the Twilight Zone is in the same league as The Shining.
do we?
That's an assumption that you've made.
Yes.
Well, because
All we said was.
otherwise we can end this right now.
All we've said was that we wanted
Your opinion on this shit.
No,
you're
we
fighting
wanted
us.
Twilight Zone to be in the brackets.
Yes.
We did not know it was going to be going up against The Shining.
Okay, and that's fair enough. And so with that in mind, I will say again, I think the I can't remember what the actual episode is called, like Monster at 60,000 feet or 30,000 feet or whatever it's called. Like I think that is great. I think the sequence with Aykroyd in the car at the beginning and then
Don't beat the bush.
and then ultimately at the end,
Come out with it.
I think is great.
Talk to me.
I think the
Be
other
honest.
I think the other episodes are good.
You're peppering things.
But there is no way that you can compare the Twilight Zone
I want to hear what you choose.
to The Shining.
Give me your opinion. What you want.
The Shining.
Okay, thank you. Logan?
So if I honestly, it's sort of what he said, and there's no competition. The Shining.
All right, and my thought is The Shining. Fucking duh.
Now,
Come on.
It's one of those things, like we said, shit falls into place. We
Yeah.
can't. We're not.
We're not dissing The Shining. I mean, the
Twilight Zone.
Zone. It had,
Just
to
when
me,
you go
some
up against
great,
The Shining.
memorable, and honestly, when I was a kid, I remember the cartoon one like crazy.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it had some great things. However, a few of the
He
episodes
also
were
remembers the
totally
cartoon,
forgettable.
with Pebbles and Bam Bam and things like that. But
That was
like during his time frame.
But that was heavily on repeat anyway, so you can't really say that.
Technically, I only remember those when they were live action because they were outside my cave. I mean, listen. Anyway,
This is another perfect
This is
example of a
unbalanced.
pairing
Yeah.
that if the Twilight Zone was
It
matched up
is.
against other movies, to be perfectly frank, on this list,
Can we go
to be
against-
fair,
To be fair.
to be fair, it's like there's. I said this in our opening episode on talking about the movies that we picked. Movies. Like, I think there's actually very few movies that me personally would have picked the Twilight Zone ahead of almost anything else on here, with the exception of possibly Christine.
he didn't want the Twilight Zone to be in the picking. We went over this. He didn't want that to be in the choosing, but there were two of us. We outvoted him.
He needs a wambulance.
However,
Yes.
he does. However, it did go up against The Shining, which, what the fuck?
That's hard.
Yeah,
Come on.
That was a bad,
The
bad
Shining
matchup.
is going to kick its fucking ass. All right, so let's move it on to the actual choice here. The bracket. This was kind of easy.
Yeah, like this was probably the easiest of pairings out of all of them.
To me,
it is. But
to me, there was a Motel Hell Hellraiser was really easy to pick Motel Hell. I don't know what the fuck you guys are thinking to pick Hellraiser.
That was a tougher one for
you
me.
pick Motel Hell.
Because it's way better than Hellraiser. Hellraiser sucked ass.
Hellraiser is awesome.
It sucked. It's
But-
so bad.
but-
It's so
but
bad.
Motel Hell
It's
is
so
amazing
bad.
as well.
I'll send you to Leviathan.
Well, Leviathan has nothing to do with fucking Hellraiser.
By the way, if anyone wants to buy farmervincents.com, I own the domain.
And why do you own that domain?
Because it's a fucking awesome movie.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It's a
All right.
guilty pleasure.
Well, let's wrap this bitch up.
All right.
And we can get into
So-
our finishing the bottle.
Thank you, folks. Stay tuned if you want to, listen to us go on about, different things with the bourbons and the movies.
Yep.
And
Otherwise, we'll see you on the next round.
Next episode.
see you in the next one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Like, comment, subscribe, which is.
No, we say that later. We do
say
a
that
whole
later.
thing afterwards.
I'll
Whole
get it one of
thing.
these
Now they're going
times.
to say,
I-
see it twice.
you don't know what we're
Well,
doing.
technically, the people that are listening to the whole thing, they won't see the actual
this will be the first
because you'll
time.
only add those parts to the shorter episodes.
You know what? You need to come to more meetings
There's that. Or
so
just
you know what's going
not
on.
drink as much.
Or bring your brain when
Oh.
you do come.
Or drink more.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Be sure to follow us on social media.
How come you got more?
Because you're lame. You don't know what to say.
What are we supposed to do? Like, just like
You-
like
Logan,
time
I
it
could
all
have been
out?
like, tune into the next
You
one
keep
or something.
screwing it
Yeah,
up.
but
You're
look,
gonna knock
Okay,
it
this is
out
like take
airtime.
15. And like I only screwed up like 3 of them. You screwed up like
Look,
8.
we're just gonna keep this one, okay?
This is the one.
This is
All right,
it.
this
We're
one
done.
right here.
Finish
Okay,
it.
done.
And